Story 1. It was supposed to be a simple weekend getaway. Just 4 of us, me, my girlfriend Mia, her brother Sam, and our friend Jonah. We needed the escape. City life was draining us all. Long hours, cold relationships, quiet depression. So we decided to hike into the Ashthorn National Forest, a remote patch of woodland known for its dense trees, quiet trails, and no cell phone reception. That last part felt like freedom at the time. We brought one tent, a load of supplies, and our false sense of confidence. The plan? Camp 2 nights deep in the forest near an old ranger's lookout that had long since been decommissioned. We didn't know we'd never make it back. The first day was beautiful. Blue skies, bird calls, the scent of pine thick in the air. By late afternoon, we stumbled upon it. A hollow tree, huge and blackened like it had been struck by lightning, though there was no fire damage around it. Its center was hollowed out wide enough for a grown man to crawl inside. And on the bark, carved deep, were symbols, spirals, jagged stars, and what looked like a screaming face. Mia touched the trunk and immediately pulled back. "It's warm," she said. "It feels like it's breathing." We all laughed it off. Just a weird tree, right? We set up camp not far from it. Jonah, ever the daredevil, slept nearest to the tree. It was around 2:30 a.m. when I woke up to scratching. It sounded like nails dragging against the bark of the tree. "Hey, oh." I sat up and unzipped the tent. The forest was pitch black, no moonlight. The fire had died down to glowing embers. And Jonah was gone. His sleeping bag lay open, undisturbed, like he had simply vanished from inside it. I called out softly, then louder. "Mia, wake up. Jonah's gone." She stirred, groggy, confused. Sam joined us. We all grabbed flashlights and called his name into the woods. No answer. Until we heard the whispering. It was faint, like the trees were sighing his name. "Jonah. Jonah." Then a scream. Short, far away, then silence. We didn't find Jonah that night. What we did find was a set of his footprints leading into the forest and stopping dead in front of the hollow tree. No footprints leading away. Only one thing stood there. A single handprint on the bark. Blood red. We stayed close to the fire the rest of the night, weapons at our sides. None of us slept. In the distance, we could hear cracking branches and soft gurgling noises, like something drowning. And every now and then, the sound of footsteps. Circling, watching. The next morning we packed. We were done. Screw the trip. We were heading back. But the trail was gone. Literally gone. The path we had followed the day before had vanished into a mess of undergrowth and unfamiliar trees. Even the sunlight looked different. Dimmer, like the forest was closing in around us. Sam, trying to calm us down, pulled out the old map he had printed. There, scribbled in red ink, was a marking none of us had noticed before. "Do not camp near the hollow." He flipped the map over. On the back was a handwritten note. "They come from the tree. Don't look inside. Don't listen at night. If one of you disappears, don't go looking. They take what they're owed." "What the hell is this?" I asked. Sam shook his head. "I swear it wasn't here before." Mia was pale. "I think we're cursed." We were starting to believe her. That evening, we didn't sleep. We huddled in the tent, keeping the fire roaring, trying not to listen to the forest. But just before dawn, I dozed off, and when I woke up, Sam was gone. Just like Jonah. His boots were still inside the tent. Mia screamed. I ran outside, calling his name. Silence. Then, from deep within the woods, his voice. "Guys, help me." We followed it. Every time we got closer, it would drift farther. Until we reached the hollow tree again. And there, hanging from a branch, was Sam's flashlight, still on. Inside the hollow, we saw something that will haunt me forever. A face. His face. Mouth open in a scream, but not moving. Like it was frozen into the bark, becoming part of the tree itself. Mia vomited and fainted. I carried Mia back to camp, whispering to her the whole way. She came to an hour later, feverish and shaking. That's when we saw it. A vine, thin and black, creeping into the tent. It was moving, like a snake. It had wrapped itself around Mia's ankle. I hacked it off with a pocket knife. The vine screeched like metal scraping glass. We set the tent on fire. We watched it burn. That's when I knew. We weren't just being hunted. We were being pulled in, one by one, fed to the tree. On our final night, it rained. We found shelter under a fallen log. Mia was slipping. She kept muttering Jonah's name, then Sam's, then mine, over and over again. When I turned to her, her eyes were rolled back, and her voice changed. Deeper, wet. They're inside. They're waiting. Just open the tree, Evan. Let us in. She lunged at me. I tackled her, pinned her down. When she stopped struggling, she began to cry. I don't want to die like this. I won't let it happen, I told her. But I was lying, because part of me already knew I couldn't save her. Before sunrise, I made a choice. I left her sleeping, kissed her forehead, and walked back to the hollow tree alone. The bark seemed to pulse with every step I took closer. And from inside it, I heard my name. Whispers of all three voices. Jonah, Sam, Mia, saying it in harmony. Evan. I stepped inside the hollow. It felt like warm flesh. The walls squished as I touched them. Breathing. Wet. I called into the darkness. I'm here. Take me. Let her go. For a moment, nothing. Then a wind rushed through the woods like a shriek, and I was thrown out onto the forest floor. I woke up hours later. The forest was quiet, empty. Mia was gone. Only one sleeping bag remained at camp. I stumbled through the trees until I found the ranger road. Somehow I had made it out. People didn't believe me, of course. 3 missing persons. I was a suspect, but they found my phone with the video I didn't remember taking. It showed me, holding the camera, standing beside the hollow tree. In the background, 3 people trapped in the bark, screaming in silence. I was smiling in the video. Years have passed. I moved far away, changed my name, started over. But I still see it sometimes. The hollow, in dreams, in reflections. Sometimes, on walks, I swear the trees lean toward me. And at night, I hear the scratching on my walls. One morning, I found a black vine wrapped around my bedpost. Mia's voice came in a dream, whispering, "You left me behind." And last week, I woke up to find bark growing on my chest. Just a patch, but it's spreading. And I know the truth now. I never left the forest. I just brought it with me. Story 2. Raven Pine Woods was supposed to be off the beaten path. No crowds, no screaming kids, and best of all, no cell reception. For 5 college friends, Lena, Carlos, Beth, Jordan, and me, Zach, it sounded perfect for a weekend getaway before graduation. Old rumors surrounded the forest, disappearances, whispering trees, a ranger who went mad and vanished, the usual urban legends. We laughed them off over beers as we set up our tents. Our campsite was deep inside, next to the dried up creek bed. Twisted roots and skeletal trees loomed overhead. The air was damp, heavy, and strangely still. Carlos joked, "This place feels like a Blair Witch set." We should have left right then. That night we made a fire, roasted marshmallows, and passed a bottle of whiskey around. Around 1 a.m., Beth froze mid-sentence. "Do you guys see that?" Across the creek, just behind the tree line, a lantern was glowing. Soft orange light. It swayed slowly from side to side. No footsteps, no voices. Just the eerie sway of firelight in utter silence. "Could be another group camping nearby," Jordan said. But the light moved strangely, gliding instead of walking. "Maybe we should check it out," Carlos suggested. "No," I said immediately. "Let's just stay here." But Carlos and Jordan were already grabbing their flashlights. I stayed behind with Lena and Beth while Carlos and Jordan disappeared into the dark, following the lantern's glow. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Lena began panicking. Beth tried calling out, but her voice echoed back strangely, distorted as if mimicked. Then we heard footsteps. Relieved, we turned, only to find Carlos stumbling back alone, pale and shaking. "No sign of Jordan," he gasped. "He was right behind me, and then he was just gone. I heard him scream once, like something grabbed him." Then he whispered something none of us wanted to hear. There were more lanterns, dozens. They started surrounding us. Beth wanted to leave immediately, but the trail was gone. Where we'd hiked in was now nothing but tangled roots and thick brush. Trees seemed closer, wrong somehow. The forest had shifted. We heard a scream in the distance. Jordan's voice, high-pitched, raw with terror. Lena clutched my arm. "That's not him." "What do you mean?" "His voice. Jordan's voice is deeper. That's someone pretending to be him." I didn't want to believe her. Until the scream echoed again. This time right behind us. We spun around. There was nothing. But we were no longer alone. That night we tried to stay awake, huddled in the tent, flashlight beams jittering with our panic. Sometime after 3 a.m., we heard the tent zipper slowly slide open. I held my breath. A face peeked in. It wasn't Jordan. Its skin was grayish, too smooth. Its eyes were entirely black, hollow, as if someone had tried to remember what a human face looked like and got it almost right. It looked around, sniffed the air, then backed away. Carlos unzipped the tent and tried to chase it. By the time I ran out after him, he was gone. Lanterns surrounded our camp, flickering, whispering, watching. Now it was just 3 of us, me, Lena, and Beth. We tried moving during daylight, but no direction made sense. The sun never shifted. We kept returning to the same creek bed, no matter how far we walked. The forest didn't want us to leave. Beth began talking to herself, muttering about voices in the bark and how the lanterns were inviting us home. That night she left the tent. We saw her walk calmly into the woods. Lanterns lit up ahead of her, making a path. She followed. We called her name. She didn't even look back. Now it was just Lena and me. We didn't speak much. On the 4th day, Lena broke down crying. She said she dreamed of Jordan every night. His skin peeled, his mouth opened wide like a lantern, glowing from the inside. "They hollowed him out," she whispered, "and they'll do the same to us." That night, she carved strange symbols on her arms, the same ones that appeared in the trees. I tried to stop her. She said, "They can't take me if I mark myself. It keeps the flame out." I told her she was losing it, but I was starting to wonder if she was right. I began seeing them clearly now. Tall, thin figures, draped in rags, faces blank like tree bark, eyes glowing with embers. They didn't walk, they drifted. And every time I blinked, they were closer. One night I saw Lena standing between 2 of them. She looked peaceful. "I'm going with them," she said. "It's easier this way." "No, Lena, please." She smiled sadly. "They burn away everything. Pain, fear, memory. You don't have to be you anymore." And then, she was gone. A lantern was left behind. It lit up on its own. I tried burning down the trees. The fire wouldn't catch. I tried running until my feet bled. But the forest curved around like a maze with no end. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. I began seeing my friends' faces in the trees. Carlos, with bark growing from his mouth. Beth, eyes hollowed and glowing. Jordan, upside down, dangling like a cocoon. Lena whispering from every lantern, "Just give in." Then one night they surrounded me. Dozens of lanterns, floating, whispering in sync. One of us, I screamed, but no one heard me. I woke up in the ranger station, disoriented, dehydrated. Rescue teams found me naked and clawing at the floorboards. No sign of the others. They said I'd been missing for only 12 hours. But I remember 5 nights. I tried to explain what happened. They found no lanterns, no signs of struggle, just our abandoned tents. Now I'm back home. But every night I hear the whispers again. Sometimes I find glowing lights outside my window. Sometimes I wake up to the smell of smoke. Sometimes I hear Lena's voice saying, "They still remember you. If you ever camp in Raven Pine Woods, ignore the legends, ignore the map. But if you see a lantern at night, don't follow it. Don't speak to it. Don't look into the light, because it sees you. And once it does, it never forgets. They're patient. They're watching. And they're coming for me. Soon." Story 3. We weren't supposed to camp there. The signs were clear. Private property, no trespassing, danger, unstable shoreline. Area condemned after 1,978 inches. But Liam insisted. "It's perfect," he said. "An abandoned cabin, a still lake, no one for miles. It'll be the best weekend ever." It was me, Nate, my girlfriend Riley, her cousin Jess, and Liam, my best friend since childhood. We were city kids with a love for eerie places and urban legends. This place had both. The legend? In the late 70s, several families went missing in the area. They say the lake keeps the ones it likes. We thought it was just campfire nonsense. We didn't think the lake would notice us. The lake was silent. Not quiet, silent. No frogs, no insects, not even wind. The water didn't ripple unless you touched it. Even then, the ripples looked wrong. Too smooth. Like they weren't just on the surface, but inside the water. Like something underneath was mimicking them. We ignored it and set up camp near the old cabin. It leaned dangerously to the left, windows smashed, but the frame still stood strong enough to sleep in. Riley didn't want to stay inside. "It's the reflections," she said. "They're off." She was right. When we looked into the water, our reflections blinked before we did. That night we built a fire, told stories, drank. Everything was fine until Jess pointed to the lake. Bubbles were rising, slowly, like air escaping from a submerged mouth. They clustered near the dock, dozens of them, gurgling silently to the surface. Then we heard screaming. Distant, garbled, like someone screaming underwater. We froze. Riley began to cry. "It's just the echo off the water," Liam said, clearly trying to convince himself more than us. Then the dock creaked. Heavy footsteps, splashing. But no one was there. Only the sound of something wet, dragging itself along the wood. We slept in the cabin that night, huddled together. We left the lantern on. I woke up around 3 a.m. The door was open. Liam was gone. I rushed outside, heart hammering. On the dock, his boots sat alone. The laces were still tied. In the water, just stillness. No ripples, no sign of struggle, no body. Then slowly, a shape surfaced. A face, Liam's, staring up, mouth open, but eyes wrong. They were too black, too wide. It blinked at me, once, twice, then vanished beneath the surface with a soft, burbling sound. I ran. The next day, Jess said Liam never existed. "What are you talking about?" I snapped. "He was your friend too." She blinked slowly. "We came here with just us three. There's no Liam, Nate. Maybe you dreamed him." I turned to Riley for backup, but she looked unsure. "Maybe she's right," she whispered. "I don't remember him either." But I did. I knew him. I remembered the stupid jokes, the ride-up, the photos we took. Wait, I checked my phone. No photos of Liam. Just me, Jess, and Riley. That night I heard Jess talking in her sleep. But when I approached her, she sat up and looked at me. "Don't go near the lake, Nate. It remembers you." Then she smiled. Only it wasn't Jess's smile. It was too wide, too calm, not human. Then she lay back down. The next morning, she was gone. Only her shoes remained, placed perfectly at the edge of the dock. "Still tied?" Riley screamed. But I didn't, because I knew what I'd see if I looked into the water. her reflection, smiling. That night, I stayed up with a knife. Riley begged me to leave with her. I wanted to, I really did. But I was afraid if I turned my back, she'd be gone too. Or worse, become something else. We walked by the lake together. She held my hand. "Nate," she whispered, "what if we just let it take us? We won't be afraid anymore. You felt it too, right?" The pull? I pulled away. Her grip was too tight. And when I looked into her eyes, they weren't Riley's anymore. I locked myself in the cabin. She or it stood outside all night. Didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. At some point, I looked out the window and saw 3 figures standing by the lake. Liam, Jess, Riley. All barefoot, all still, all staring directly at me. I screamed. I begged them to stop, but they only blinked. Once in unison, then walked into the lake. The next morning, I made one last attempt to escape. I ran, through trees, through brush. I didn't care which way. Hours passed. Then I stumbled onto a clearing and found the same cabin. My cabin. The lake still in front of it. I fell to my knees. The lake gurgled. And then, it spoke. "You were always alone." The voice wasn't loud, but it filled my head. "Who are you?" I screamed. The lake didn't answer. Instead, I saw my reflection rise up from the water and smile. I woke up in the canoe. In the middle of the lake. I hadn't brought a canoe. The water was like glass. No wind, no sound. I looked over the edge. No reflection. Just a black, endless drop. Then I heard footsteps on the surface of the lake. Wet, heavy, inhuman. Something walked toward me, but I couldn't move. It crouched down beside the canoe and whispered in my ear, "This is where you've always been." And then it opened its mouth, too wide, and screamed. They found me walking barefoot down a highway 30 miles from the lake. Drenched, mute. I couldn't speak for days. They said I was the only one on the trip. They said I went camping alone. I tried to show them texts from Riley, photos of Liam and Jess. Nothing. Not a trace. Not even on social media. No record they ever existed. But I know the truth. I wasn't alone. I just am now. Sometimes I wake up and find lake water on the floor. Sometimes I hear them calling from the drain. And sometimes I look in the mirror and see 4 people standing behind me, smiling, waiting, calling me home, back to the lake, back where I belong.